Yeah, La Tech seems like it was a world ago right now. We've had several days to kind of get our bodies back right. A huge win for our program, a huge win for our guys and our coaches, and just the amount of work and time and effort they put into, preparing all through those weeks and preparing the game plan. Offense, defense, special teams, I thought it was a great win from a standpoint of every phase of the game kind of came to play and made a play when they needed to. You kind of saw us put together a little bit more complete game plan, but we talk about a lot. There's still a lot of meat left on the bone. There's still a lot of things that we can improve on as a football team. You saw some guys step up in some roles and continue to get better and better, like they've been doing the entire season. So, just very proud of the way those guys competed. Now the challenge kind of turns into FIU, a very good team. Been a fan of Willie Simmons for a very long time, except when he plays Kennesaw State. They've put together a really good football team thus far. They had a really big win last week, this past week when they beat Western Kentucky. But we have our work cut out for us for the simple fact they seem to be clicking right now in all phases of the game. So it's going to require a lot of focus on our part, a lot of intensity on our part to go out there on the road and try to get a road win. We talked a lot in our building about good teams understand how to win on the road, and so far we have not been able to win on the road here at Kennesaw State in my regime. So, we have another challenge as a football team, another chance to take a step and continue to grow.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Kai, you want to start us off?
Sure, Coach. We didn't see Amari Odom or Caleb Offord against Louisiana Tech the other week. Is there any update on those their status that you'd be willing to share, and if whether or not we'll see him on Tuesday?
Yeah, a lot of it was precautionary reasons. We went through warm-ups with those guys, and after we came out of warm-ups, the guys just didn't feel like they gave our team the best opportunity to win. And kudos to those guys for being mature to communicate with us that they felt like the guys that their understudies could end up giving us a better opportunity. Thus far, they've had several days off to kind of rest and heal up some. Those guys have been taking reps, for the last 7 or 8 days or so with the normal teams, with the ones and the twos, so to speak. So, we're looking forward to continue to progress through this whole deal these next couple of days and just kind of see where they're at. But as of right now, I would tell you, I really feel like it's trending the right way with both of those guys will be available at least.
So both of those guys, it was player-made decisions ahead of Louisiana Tech.
It's always player made. Like, those guys know their body. We're going to try to do everything we can to get those guys to the best version of themselves. But at the end of the day, we're going to take a lot of the input and the feedback from those guys, as far as what we feel like or what they feel like that they can do. So, they felt like, if we could do some other things to help win the game, it was in a position where they didn't have to play, which was good. But I do feel like if they would have been needed in that time, they would have been able to go.
You mentioned FIU's big win over Western Kentucky last week, or I guess this week. How have they progressed as the season has gone on in order to peak the way they did last week?
Yeah, you see a team that's continued to find their identity. I feel like on the offense side of the ball, they'll continue to run the ball extremely well. And I think you saw a taste of that the other night when they played West Kentucky. They put the ball in the belly of the running back, and they had a lot of success doing that. Obviously, they got the preseason player of the year, and obviously he can hurt you as well. But they can win in so many different ways. They have so many different weapons on the offense side of the ball, whether it's number four or the quarterback or the running backs. They just got so many different ways they can hurt you. Defensively, I felt like their secondary kind of came together some. They got some bodies back that had been down for the last couple of weeks, and you can just see that team starting to really gel. And you want to play your best football, probably starting in the middle of the year, heading toward November, trying to get ready for postseason play. And that's what you see that team doing. They're starting to figure some of these things out, and they're starting to play really good football. And they stronger. They got a win the other night.
Coach, you spoke highly of the plan that was set in place with the odd schedule during the October midweek games. What's been the biggest challenge so far, and how has that plan been executed?
Just the up and down of the days, like we talked about, like what is today, right? Is it Friday? Is it Tuesday? What kind of day is it? Just getting those guys really acclimated and the coaches acclimated to like the game plans on what needs to be implemented on what days. That's always, we have to do a great job of communicating within our own building and to the players to let them know, understand like these types of days of this game plan, third down package or red zone package. This is the day we have to be great on the grass and really cleaning up all the fine tuning of those things. So just the logistics of just the day to day. We're always communicating through text, always communicating through our app. we call teamworks and just putting everybody on the same page consistently. And that's what the challenge is. We have to continue to over communicate what every day looks like.
Stan?
Coach, the defense has been so good for you guys. You're the top of most of the categories in the Conference USA, but are you curious to see how the defense is going to carry over on the road trip? This first time a conference game on the road.
I really am. When you get a chance to travel, you got to bring your offense, defense, and special teams, and that's what we keep talking to those guys about. We have not, done well from a standpoint of winning, coming out on the other side of that stick in road games right now, and we have to find a way to win on the road. We talked a lot in our building this week about good teams. If you want to be that type of team that people continue to talk about, if you want to be the team that has an opportunity to play for any kind of postseason accolades at the end of the season, you have to be able to win road games. In this conference and in any conference, to be honest with you, you go on the road, you're a little bit out of your comfort zone. The crowd can be hostile. The other team is in a flow, they're in a rhythm. They're in their natural habitat, and we have to do a good job of understanding that, staying the same focus, the same intensity that we play with at home. We got to continue to take that on the road.
Their running back had a great game last week, and I think he's one of the top guys in the conference. What is it about him that makes him so good?
Yeah, extremely physical runner, great contact balance. He does not go down on the first hit. He continues to break tackles at the second level and the third level. He understands how to run behind his pads. He's one of those bigger, thicker backs that you're going to have to wrap up. If not, ball forward for another 2 to 3 yards. Every time he touches the ball, you just feel like something positive is going to happen. And that's one thing that you always compliment any back on, because you're always going to be able to stay ahead of the chains as a play caller. So like he did a tremendous job last week or this past week against West Kentucky. But that was his best game of the season. But you see it all throughout the year. He's showing flashes of that was just liable to happen. It just happened to happen on that day.
Your guys been able to stay away from getting the big heads, after a couple of big wins.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Have you guys been able to keep your guys away from getting the big heads and keep them focused on going on what you're trying to get done?
Yeah, we just keep talking about it's just about us. We have so many things within our building that we have to continue to get better at, and we got to continue to clean up some of those little things. As a football coach, you see so many things as you watch, not only your team but other teams, and you can see, you've been doing this so long, you just know teams that can make a true run at it, and teams that may just be getting the luck of the draw sometimes. So we talk about, hey, let's focus on us. Let's just focus on how can we continue to improve defensively, offensively, and teams, those techniques. We got away with some things in the La Tech game from a fundamental standpoint that certain other teams like a FIU may hold us more accountable for. So we want to make sure we address those things before we get held accountable on Tuesday night and they see those things.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, if health permitting, can we expect Amari to return as starter on Tuesday?
I think so. If everything keeps trending the right way, he's going to have an opportunity to step out first. But Dex has had a great week of practice as well, so we'll kind of continue to monitor that.
And then one more thing on the injury front. Daniel Kinney was dressed and warming up ahead of Louisiana Tech. How has he continued to progress? I know you said that he was getting closer before the last game.
Yeah, I think every week, it's just a work in progress. Right now, he kicked the other day. It wasn't bad, but we'll just kind of see. We always kind of make that decision the latter part of the week as far as do we have the confidence that he can go out there and actually, kick it and put us in the best situation to win. So I would still say, to me, it's day to day with him.
Hey, Coach, with 6 games in, the halfway point of the season, when you forecasted how you thought the season may go and this team may develop, what parts of your program, parts of offense and defense, do you feel like are on track? What parts maybe do you feel like are ahead of schedule?
I think offensively, we got to continue to grow. We have had a lot of penalties on the offense side of the ball early. And every week we continue to cut those penalties down. We continue to do some things that show flashes that we got a chance to be a really good offense. We've shown some flashes of being able to be explosive, but those penalties, we've had a couple of turnovers, not a ton, but we have had a couple of catastrophic turnovers that kind of put us in a position where we didn't score points. We got to knock some of our field goals down when we get those opportunities. We've had opportunities to go and hit field goals that we haven't, which is points once again. But as far as the movement movement of the ball, the tempo that we like to play with, some of the guys evolving and emerging as potential stars. I like all that stuff about our offense right now. Defensively, I feel like we're right on pace, but we have to continue to eliminate teams. Continue to stay on the field on third down. Our third down percentage of getting people off the field has to continue to go up. We've done a decent job of being but don't break. We haven't allowed a lot of touchdowns, especially right now in conference play. We've done a good job of kind of controlling those guys, but there's so many things that we can still get better at. Like the yards after contact, we got to do a great job of when we hit and when we strike a person, they go down to the ground and they're not draining everything they can out of it. So it's just some of those small things. If we clean up some of those small things, really on both sides of the ball, we feel like we could be one of the top offenses and defenses in our league if we kind of could clean up some of these mistakes. And we're not far. We're really not that far. We're very, very close. It's just going to take all 11 on both sides of the ball when the opportunity presents itself to go ahead and attack that moment and seize that moment and not make those mistakes.
What position group do you feel like has developed the most at this point this season?
I would definitely say right now, all the coaches are doing a really good job. Obviously, our quarterback position, having two quarterbacks, one to be conference player of the week one week, and then another one to come in and perform like Dexter did, tie a couple of school records, toss a couple of touchdowns to multiple receivers. Whenever you got two quarterbacks that you feel comfortable, they can continue to go into the game and help win games. I think that just speaks volumes on what Coach Mitch has been doing on the offensive side of the ball and development. And then also too, our administration staff, our personnel department with Coach Kershaw and Peter, those guys did a really good job of identifying and finding the talent to develop. So, man, it's a trickle down effect. That position to me is very hard to develop that position. We always talk about if you got two, you don't got any. But I do feel like both of those guys have got total confidence that they can go in the game and win games for us.
And lastly, Coach, you said earlier you're a fan of Willie Simmons. Why so?
Me and Willie kind of came up very similar. He was a head coach at Prairie View and FAMU. I was a head coach in North Carolina Central. Heck, I remember Willie when he was the office coordinator in Middle Tennessee State. We're very similar in age, very similar background as far as being head coaches at the HBCU. Always shared ideas, always kind of catch up when we get a chance to see one another. I've always respected his work wherever he's been. He's won championships. I've won championships. So there's a lot of similarities in our background.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, one more thing from me. Your DC, Coach Mattioli, he's been a coordinator of the week 3 times this year. Just talk about, what he brings to the table and how good of a job he's done.
Very, very good football coach, very smart football coach. Coach Mattioli does a really good job managing the staff and the players. He's even keel. He's never too high. He's never too low. Extremely intense person, and it kind of carries over to the focus that he bleeds onto the players. And I think that's what you kind of see. His intensity, his focus, the way he commands those guys in the room. It just kind of it's all a trickle down effect. So been very pleased with what him and the staff have done to get our players to play to the best of their ability, and that's a compliment to him. Leadership is real, and you can see it. He's exemplifying the leadership that we need on that deeper side of the ball to win games.
Thanks, Coach.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Oh, Stan?
Nope. I was going to say thanks, Coach.
No problem. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thanks, everyone.